I was there with him. When he learned to walk, he took his first steps. I was there with him. I taught him to fight. I taught him to throw pranks. I taught him to throw tantrums. So all the blemishes which he had are probably to be blamed on me, because I was his first teacher of all the naughtiness. I don't know if you are aware that when his childhood name was Baby, his childhood name was Baby because he was very cherubic, very fair, long hair, but he always had that glint of naughtiness in his eyes, always. And his love for milk and milk products and sugar. Does it not remind you of anyone with that kind of love? I also made him cry many times during the fights. And today he has had his revenge. Anyway, like I said, I have been with him when he took his first steps, when he walked first, when he started his first job. He was with me in Delhi. When he first moved to Australia, he left from my house in Bombay. But when he was taking his first steps towards meeting the Lord, I was not there. I came late. When we were growing up together, he used to love to do disguises. He would buy stuff from the market and disguise as a sadhu at times, and different kinds of disguises. And a Baharupiya, like we call in Hindi, a Baharupiya he was. And he remained a Baharupiya till the very end, taking on different forms, the form of a son, of a friend, of a father, of a brother, of a prankster, and of a clown. He always remained a Baharupiya, like the Lord himself. It's often said that relationships don't end, they metamorphosize. And what a metamorphosis it has been for Piyush. From a young brother to Prabhu. Well done, my brother. As he watches us from above, I can think of a few lines which remain with all of us as we are here. All you who sleep tonight, far from the ones you love, no hands to left or right, and emptiness above. Know that you aren't alone. The whole world shares your tears, some for 2 nights or 1, and some for all their years. God bless.
Thank you, Manish Bhai. Manish Bhai has talked about sugar. I remember just a funny episode with him. Just a day before he became unconscious. I asked him, Prabhu, what would you like to eat tomorrow morning? He said, Prabhu, dalia. I said, मीठा नमकीन मीठा. मैं कह रही यार शुगर नहीं खाएगी. कहता शुगर का क्या करना है? शुगर के लिए तो जीते हैं. So this is how humorous he was. Little things. Despite in bed, he was so humorous all the time and witty guy. Although his face was very serious looking face, but inside, very soft man. Thank you. Can I invite Pabi? She said. Pabi is the niece. She also came from India. So, have a seat.
Hi, good evening all. I'm Pavni, Chachu's niece. So, I have written a small poem for him. I'll start directly. Chachu, months ago you asked to come and visit you. And see, here I am, like I promised I would do. This world became quieter as you left our company. I know I wasn't ready, but how could I ever be? Looking forward to meet, to the plans you made. These prospects in my head, me wishing them to fade. The words seem distant, even as I speak them aloud. So I tried to learn from you and attempt to make you proud. Chachu always used to say to me to write more in Hindi. So the next part is an ode to him. सिखाया था आपने मीलों दूर से भी हर बार, सब मोह माया है पगला, गीता है जीवन का सार. राही थे आप प्यार के, बिन मोह वाले इकरार के. राधा रानी थी निरंतर साथ, ना छोड़ा कृष्णा ने आपका हाथ. आपकी वो नटखट हंसी, आपका वो अटूट उत्साह, आंखों में जैसे ज्ञान का सागर और दिल में बच्चों सी चाह. हाँ, मिलना तो चाहती हूँ, पर जानती हूँ देर हो गई. पर आज आंसू नहीं, मुस्कान के साथ विदा कहूंगी, आपकी अपनी पगला दीदी. So my name at home is Pragya, and he always used to call me Pagla. That is by the word Pagla at two places.
Thank you, Bob. Is there any, Vivian is here? Vivian, I would like to invite you to share some of your memories. Yeah. Everyone, please move forward. Thank you. I got Sri Rama Prabhu at the back, the master, so he's going to keep on pushing. Thank you. So, Vivian is the very close friend of Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu, and he has spent many years with him. Since 2008, I think they became friends, or 2011. So he's the one who served him a lot in the hospital. Harvinder is another friend who is sitting at the back, and they served him like as if more than a family member. They were the one who were taking him to chemotherapy, bring him back from chemotherapy, take him for scan, bring him back from scan. So his last 4 years, they served him unrelentingly. And the last few days when he was in hospital, they were with him all the time. Thank you. I must thank in front of Lord to the close friends and the friends who came from far away. In his, I was quite surprised and astonished when one of his friends, he came from Cairns, flew from Cairns when he was sick in the hospital. He spent 9 hours with him in the room without going out. I said, what are you doing here? Do you have work here? He said, no, I just want to see Piyush. I want to spend time here. I went thrice that day to Piyush. Piyush was sleeping most of the time, and this friend was sitting there, not even browsing the phone. He just wanted to sit with him. And then on his cremation day, he flew back again from Cairns. So that's the type of friendship he had with his friends. He's a very sincere friend. Very, very sincere friend. Thank you.
Thank you. I have lots of pages. I will leave mine to the end, but I have a few of very close Piyush's friends and teachers that have sent through a few messages. Devita, I'm wearing glasses, I look pretty special. This is from Rashmi. Tribute to my friend Piyush. Piyush, my friend, Sunday mornings will never be the same again. At least for the 5 of us. And more recently, mostly the 4 of us. When we get on a video call to check in on each other, catch up, be silly, serious, philosophical. especially these last 4 years since you were diagnosed. Not that you knew you would have only 4 years, but the way you lived your life and took on whatever was thrown at you has been truly inspirational. In fact, all the things that you achieved during this time, the way you lived and laughed, and that dealt with all the pain has been a lesson for all of us. As I try and recall all the ways in which you coped, through work, almost till the very end, holding tight your beautiful children to make every moment count, with travel and spending time with friends, cracking PJs, sharing silly snippets from action movies or reels of ridiculous food, writing poignant poems when pain became too much, and the painstakingly typed detailed explainers to verses from the Bhagavad Gita for the less devoted people like us. Now, as I recall these, the rich legacy that you have left behind us, even as we try and come to terms with the physical void, I owe you so many of my life lessons. When we visited you last year, I was totally surprised at all the fun and travel you had packed in for those few days while we were there, despite the failing health and so many discomforts. We did everything we all wanted, having the most amazing time of our middle-aged lives, and you never held yourself back because of your pain. Your children and you were such generous, thoughtful hosts. We also had a peek in the warm and caring community that you built around you in this country, so far from the place and culture you grew up in. It is a true testament of the incredibly warm, generous, and dependable person you were, that you found such a caring group of friends who have been by your side through your sickness selflessly and shared highs and lows of each other's lives. My heartfelt gratitude to them. You have inspired us all to be better persons by example. Even though you did not get the time to do all that you had planned, that you wanted to do, especially be there physically for your children, you still managed to accomplish so much. Your life has been one of the extraordinary courage and faith, of compassion for others' failings, coping with extreme pain through laughter and songs. In every way, your life and your fight has been a triumph of will in every breath. Salam, my friend, until we meet again. I hope you have a stack of PJs ready so we can laugh together. Your dear friend, Rashmi. We have a few. This is from a teacher. I still can't believe teachers write good notes. He must have bribed them. This is Piyush for sure. Piyush Jaiswal, my good old student, batch of 1988. Old memories rush in as I recall the enthusiastic teenager in his navy blue and white school uniform. Smart, energetic, and brisk. Ever ready to do everything he was asked. Always polite and courteous, and yes, very intelligent. This class of students was different from the later batches. They were a no-nonsense kind, a sincere lot. It was a time without internet, where the bond between teachers and students was close-knit. We valued one another, and we had a special place in our hearts for these boys and girls. I reconnected with Piyush after decades when I got to know about his health condition. He has been through several setbacks and crises, but still sounded rock solid in his grit and determination to go on for the sake of his children. Fighting for them were his words. In one of my last conversations with him, he mentioned, "The end doesn't scare me." He was getting ready for the eternal journey ahead. May God bless this pure soul and inspirational warrior. Piyush, may you find peace at last in the forever land of divinity. And may God give strength to Piyush's family. Punita P. Chauhan, English teacher. Sarangi Surf, maths teacher, says, Piyush was a brave fighter. Message from Suresh. He's from Bangalore. He has a Hindi song, and for those who don't know, my Hindi is terrible, so do forgive me. There's a song from Devanand. मैं जिंदगी के साथ निभाता चला गया, हर फिक्र को दुआ में उड़ता चला गया, पर come on. बर्बादियों का शौक मनाना फिजूल था, बर्बादियों का जश्न मनाता चला गया, जो मिल गया उसी को मुकद्दर समझ लिया, जो खो गया मैं उसको बुलाता चला गया, गम और खुशी में फर्क नहीं महसूस हो जान, मैं दिल को उस मुकाम पर ले लाता चला गया. I did pretty well. There's an irony in this, and then for those who haven't watched this, A, it's black and white, so it's Piyush's generation. B, it's about Devanand dressed as a army officer, something the man always wanted, which is in my part. To me, Piyush was always like Devanand, nonchalantly singing the above song. In more than 45 years of our association, I have never come across anyone more humane, more spiritually evolved, or more humorously light-hearted and mischievous. Piyush and a couple of us had even once hatched a plan to explode an agarbatti-triggered Diwali bomb in our school washroom, amongst an abundance of other pranks on unsuspecting students and teachers. He was no saint. Piyush had a love for detective work and a love for the armed forces too, and had donned the military uniform on several occasions. On the detective work part, during our high school days, we had even hatched and executed a very special plot to expose the tuition businesses that one of our teachers was indulging in, against the school policy that prohibited the teachers from offering paid after-school tutoring for students at our own school. Piyush had a love for trekking and adventure and was selected for a 2-week mountaineering course in the Himalayas when he was in grade 8th or 9th. Amongst places near to Brisbane, Piyush had a love for Crystal Castle off Gold Coast, amongst other places on the Gold Coast in Byron Bay that Piyush and his childhood friends, Rubal, Shubhrata, Rashmi and Suresh visited in November 2024. Piyush insisted on spending unrushed number of hours soaking in every part of Crystal Castle. It was almost as if he had the intuition that he would not get to see it again. Fast forward to April 2025. I highly cherish the roaringly hilarious time together with Piyush for an entire month with him in Brisbane. Being with him amidst his highs and lows, and his ability to always crack jokes, and both of us erupting in laughter of most of that time. The heaven is going to be greater cheer with Piyush's arrival, while the rest of us here shall fondly remember the multi-faced legend that Piyush was. Abundance of blessings to Devika and Devesh, and I shall always be there for both of you. Suresh. This is from Sandra in New Zealand, across the ditch. As I sit here writing this, I am taken back to Goa in circa 1990. I had entered college and there was this geeky, gawky kid from Delhi who had come on transfer. He was brilliant and slightly out of his depth in a new place and culture. I soon ended up adopting him and keeping him under my wing till he got on his feet. I know that Piyush will be rolling his eyes saying while listening to this. We soon added more troops to the ranks and became the very best of friends, spending many afternoons in college canteens, scurrying up money between us to buy samosas and thumbs up. I lent him my shoulder to cry on when he realized his first crush already had a boyfriend, and he taught me how to speak proper Hindi, a true feat for a Goan Catholic all those years ago. There was no kya karta hai man to be said in front of Piyush. He would actually knuckle my head, one of the very few who could be safe doing that. We finished university and Piyush returned to Delhi, but we always stayed in touch. Fate brought us both to the southern hemisphere, Piyush to Australia, and I overshot landed in New Zealand. And as all good friends, we could go without talking for a few months and then chatter away for an hour like time had never passed. We argued and disagreed, laughed and reminisced, all with unshakable love and respect for each other. I cannot believe there won't be another call. I believe a soul comes to this earth for many reasons, but the two main reasons are to learn or to teach. To me, Piyush lived among us to teach us. Devout in his own faith, he taught us harmony by having close friends from many different faiths. He taught us single-mindedness in a fight, and he fought to live for his children. He taught us that cheekiness and astute professionalism can coexist. He taught us perseverance and courage. He taught us how to love. To Piyush's mum and dad, I pay my respects. You raised a good man. You did our world a favor. I stand with you in your grief. To Devesh and Devika, you are the pinnacle of all your dad's achievements. Ever since you were born, he lived for you. I know he has left you very wealthy, and I don't mean with money. You have the wealth of the relationships your dad cultivated in his lifetime, that he handed to you in his passing. The room around you today and people far flung around the world will always look out for your well-being. Our prayers will always cover you. To Piyush, I stormed the heavens for your health, but lost your beloved Krishna, who wanted you to himself. So we part this lifetime. Enjoy your peace and freedom. Goodbye, old friend. Till we meet again, Sandra. Here comes the best part, mine. And there are a couple of others, but I will read that later so I don't hog the mic, which I already am. All right. So just to correct Rishi, so yes, Havinda and me used to take Piyush for chemo, but there was an ulterior motive. It was always either the hot chocolate or the coffee that I could get, right? And Piyush would buy. Good evening, everyone. Today we gather to celebrate the life of a man who truly transcended norms. Our dear friend, Piyush. For Piyush, connection was never about borders, race, religion, or even whether you shared his love for music. If you could smile, he knew how to reach you. He had a gift, a way of making people feel seen, valued, and part of his world. One of his greatest passions was a dream of wearing the Defense Force uniform. That dream was cut short only because he was blind in one eye. But you'd hardly know it. Piyush never let that define him. In fact, many were surprised to learn that he was nearly shortlisted for covert operations in the ADF, only to be ruled out for medical reasons. I often think how lucky we are that that happened, because had that journey gone on differently, many of us may have never had the privilege to have known him. Piyush's advice was simple yet profound. Invest in relationships, not in money. In today's materialistic world, these words feel far more powerful. He lived by them. always keen to share a laugh, to make light of pain, and to cherish human connection above all else. He had a mischievous streak too, as you've heard, dressing in disguises to surprise Rubal along with Suresh, creating pranks, which some of us still think he was too good to be true. Sitting to just watch the sunrise or the sunset, reminding us what it means to live in the moment. His humor followed him everywhere, even into the hospital rooms. I remember the nurses draining his fluid and Piyush joking that he should get the commission from the sale because he called it his beer. That was his way, finding light even in the darkest of hours. He fought his illness with a fierce spirit. "This is a fight I won't give up," he would say. And he never did. He tried everything, new remedies, traditional ones. His attitude would always be, if it might work, why not? How much worse can it get? He loved his sweets, which made him a great companion for me, a fellow sweet tooth. For those who knew me, they understand that vegetarian food is a big, big task for me. And he got me to eat vegan food, not once, but thrice. There were moments of deep intimacy and brotherhood too. I became his medical Uber driver, a title he fondly gave me, and so many of us fought for that honor, to spend time with him, to be there by his side, one-on-one. The hospital thought we were partners, and when I asked if I should carry him when he was in bed at the emergency, he said, "You can carry me, but no kissing." As we got to the bed, the nurse asked, "Would you like to change to a gown?" And I said, "Sure." And they started taking off his shirt. And his response was, "No kiss and honeymoon already?" For those at the hospital, you may have noticed that I fondly used to kiss Piyush on the forehead, hoping that that annoyance might just wake him up. That was my brotherly bond with him, one filled with love, humor, and the occasional push of boundaries. Piyush loved poetry, something I only discovered towards the end. His words were deep, emotional, almost prophetic, reflections of his final walk. He was never one to be a burden, always preparing, always thoughtful. He shared a special connection with my son Mateo, an unspoken bond, almost spiritual. He would show up unannounced, right when he was needed, and Mateo would do the same. It was as if they were tuned to the same frequency. So today, when we remember Piyush, we don't just grieve. We celebrate a life that was rich, mischievous, generous, and deeply human. He showed us what it meant to connect, not through wealth or status, but through laughter, through kindness, and through presence. My brother Piyush, you will forever be in my heart. Continue to watch over us, guide us, and help us become better. We were blessed to know you, and we will miss you dearly. Lots of love to you, my brother.
Thanks, Vivian. I'll share another journey of Piyush's life. As Vivian said, Piyush invests in relationship, and that was very evident in the last few days. When he was in bed, he had a lot of visitors. In the daytime, we usually have 10 to 15 visitors. By the evening, it swelled up to 40 to 50. So nurses were all perplexed that how it is possible that there is a ward of 50 patients and they don't have total of 50 patients. There is one patient whose visitor, he has too many visitors. So next morning, the very last day, when Piyush was in bed, unconscious, his palliative care consultant, Dr. Chen, came to me. He said, "What is about him that a lot of visitors are there?" I looked into his eyes, I see it's special. So it means he invests in relationship. So he had friends who were visiting, devotees were there, and that shows that how popular he was. So next thing is Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu was very great devotee of Lord Ram. So he always had inclination to hear about Ram, to learn about Ram. So I have requested Raghav to please sing a very nice devotional Kirtan for him. It's a 5 minutes, and after that I would like to invite Sri Nandakishore Prabhu, who is sitting at the back, after the Kirtan to come and share his memories with us. Thank you. Everyone to move forward, please. Thank you. Sorry, I keep on requesting, but I think we have more devotees as the time goes by. Thank you very much.
Ram
Thanks, Radha. Can I invite Nand Kishore Prabhu? Thank you. Nand Kishore Prabhu is a very senior Vaishnava in Brisbane congregation. He has been serving the Lord and the junior Vaishnava for many, many years. He has a very close relationship with Ram Vijaya Prabhu. So I'm sure he'll be able to share very nice memories of him. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So, it's actually a great privilege to speak about Ram Vijaya Prabhu. In the Brisbane Yatra of Hare Krishna movement, actually that's when I came to know him. No, not beforehand. So, he used to come to me sometimes asking me my opinion on certain things and trying to see what he can do. What I noticed over the years, that's what I can express about him. My observations. When I see him, I actually get reminded of a verse from the Bhagavatam. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati yakinchana sarvair gunis tatra samasate sura harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena sati dhavato bhayi. That those who are devoted to the Lord, they automatically get endowed with all the qualities of the demigods. And those who are only on the mental platform, no matter how many good qualities they try to exhibit, they will always fail. So, one of the things I noticed about him was, he is a unique, actually throughout, I've been in the ISKCON movement for about maybe 47 years. And in these years, I have never seen a case like his. I have to uniquely separate him. I've seen many, many devotees, but not a case like him. When he was very ready to embark on this journey, eternal journey again from this life, there were all of you praying for him. I was praying for him, so many people were praying for him. And we all have one guru, one initiating guru. And we have many, many instructing gurus. That's what the Shastra says. One should have one initiating guru who gives you the mantra. And you can have many other Siksha gurus. But in his case, he had two Diksha gurus. And that also in an authorized way, not unauthorized way. Because I was directly also communicating with him, so he was explaining every step, what he's taking. He was always making sure he doesn't deviate from what he should be doing. So he would always consult. That is a sign of humility. There was no pride in him. Although he was very determined to do what he did or what he does, but there was no pride in him. And when one venue could not get him much answers for what he needed, then he approached his original guru and he asked him, can I approach someone else? And he got the blessings. He got the full blessings, and actually he went ahead and it's like Krishna opened a door for him that he really needed. Now, so that's a very unique thing. In the Shastra also there is no recommendation for second guru, but he had a second guru. And at the end of his life, both gurus were actually praying for him. This is the uniqueness. Two great Mahatmas are actually praying for his journey forward. So that was very wonderful. It's not like one guru had given him up in his mind. Certain things happen in certain times in our lives which we may not understand, but Krishna knows why things happen the way they do. And we take it like that. So I found that was one wonderful thing about him. He always wanted guidance. And he couldn't, if he could not get guidance from one venue, he would go to another venue. When he needed some guidance, he would go. He was never afraid to speak out his mind. He was very, very methodical in the way he did things. I also noticed how wonderfully he took care of his children. When he used to talk about his home life and everything with me, I could sense that he was a very, very responsible person. Generally, we attempt certain things in our lives, and then, if some things work out, fine. If it doesn't, we just lose our determination. But his determination was like rock solid. Whenever he wanted to, he set his mind on something and he would do it. That was a very good quality. Another good quality I found, because we're talking about the qualities of the demigods. And one other quality that I noticed was, which is a very, very important quality for someone who is a devotee, and that is his gratitude. Very, very grateful for any little thing that someone does for him. He's always very grateful. One of the devotees in our society, I don't know if I should mention his name, but anyway, everybody knows him, they all love him. That's Lord Sri Prabhu. He had a lot to do with him. Is Daoji here today? No. Okay. So anyway, I came to know this through Lord Sri Prabhu, so it's not my own thing. But so Daoji was constantly in touch with him, taking care of his health, advising him what to do and what not. And he felt so grateful in his heart for what Daoji was doing for him. And he wanted to do something special. Now, what did he do? Without telling Daoji, he ordered Radha Krishna deities. Big size, marble. Big size Radha Krishna deities, and I think, where's Deveshwar? You're here, right? So you know about it. You should be knowing about it. Yeah, and he also ordered, I think, a Nrsimha deity. Both deities were given. And Daoji said, what am I going to do now? He was completely... I saw in the course of time that he had a very, very intense faith in deities. And he was also taking keen interest in deity worship. One time he approached me and he said, Prabhuji, you sometimes travel and preach, so whenever you need to go somewhere, he said, can I have your deities at my place so that I can look after them in your absence? He offered me that. Now that deities nobody really asked for that because the standard is a little different. He was not afraid of the standards. He was not afraid of anything. He would just completely submit, So he has, from these two incidents, I deduce, maybe I think I am correct, that he has a lot of intense affection for deities. And maybe you all have noticed here when he is taking part in Abhishek and other things like that. So this quality of having seen the Lord in the deity form or as the Lord himself as the deity, that is actually not an ordinary vision. Most of us take deities for granted. You'll see people when they go to the temple, they hardly actually look at the deities. They just go to the temple, oh, the murti is here. And they close their eyes in front of them. They won't even have darshan properly. They close their eyes and then they put some dakshina and just go. So that's one standard. Another standard is someone who come, and they're really bleeding. They are also a little bit more advanced. Then there are some others who come to the Lord and always bring gift. Then there are others who actually come to the Lord and they do more than that. They come and they think, wow, so wonderful, what can I do for the Lord? So as you go, there are different levels and stages. And I think he was on a very high level as far as deity worship goes, and seeing the deity as the Supreme Lord. And that actually is very indicative of one's high degree of faith. And so, one time, now another thing is if you have that inclination towards the deities, you will be inclined to also do some service for them. So one time it was winter, and one of those years, and he approached me and he said, Prabhuji, can you give me a set of your deity's clothes as measurement? I want to engage my mother in making a set of warm clothes for your deities. And he went to the shops, the supermarkets, he found the right color, what do you call that? The yarn or the... Yeah, and he got all of this together, he made it all possible. And the surprising thing was this, that just a little bit before that, for many years when it was really cold season, I didn't have any warm clothes for them. And I was always feeling like, how could I get, custom made, the right fit for my deities, and who is doing this kind of thing? And actually it came forward through him. It came forward through him, and he engaged his mother to do this, and she made 2 sets of such warm clothes for my deities, which they still put on in winter. So, is the mother here? Somewhere? Jai Ho. Jai Mataji, thank you very much. They are still wearing those clothes. So he... Okay. So, I'll keep it short. Sorry, I didn't know how much time I had. So, actually this was all that I thought of. He was a very, very close friend. One time I went to his home and he actually had in the backyard, he had a telescope. So he was watching, I think he was watching the stars or something. He showed me the telescope at your place. In the backyard, in the old house when you were really young. I can't remember the address at that time. So he had some sort of interest. And the last thing I want to say is that, as all of you know, he has given many examples through his own life. He was almost like teaching people by example. And I saw that the last few months, years, whenever I called him and asked him how he is, oh, this body will always be like that. There's no problem. There's no problem at all. My consciousness is fine. My consciousness is fine. I'm fine. And I went to the hospital to see him just lately, and it was the same. So his consciousness was always steady despite any external situation. And according to the Gita, Krishna says that that's the sign of someone who is on a liberated platform, actually. If you're not bothered by the material circumstances, you can be fixed in your resolve of Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nandkishore Prabhu. The next thing we have a message from Viraj Krishna Prabhu. We are going to play it on is it mobile phone or we have to set it? Yeah. One of the great qualities which Nandkishore Prabhu mentioned about Rama Vijaya Prabhu was that he was very attached to deities. Determination to such an extent that he used to have chemotherapy in the 2 days prior, and he used to come and serve the deities. The energy level often after chemotherapy is only 5 to 10% of normal energy. but he never deterred from his duties. He kept on serving. One day, he was carrying the deity at the Shobha Yatra. I asked him, Prabhu, why are you carrying? You are not strong. He said, Radharani is making me strong. Don't worry about me. So that has an unflinching faith in Lord. And he kept on serving right to the last few days. So he came for Guru Puja as well, Vyas Puja after the Janmashtami. That was very nice of him. So that shows that a great soul, a great Vaishnava, how he served right to the end. He keep on serving to the Lord. So that is why we celebrate the great Vaishnava's journey. So for a Vaishnava, it doesn't matter. It is life or the body is left and they'll keep on moving. Thank you. Can I invite Sakirai Prabhu? Is he around? Thank you. So Sakirai Prabhu, as you all know, I don't need to introduce him. He is a president. He's been serving. Yes, he is. He's been the head of management for this temple. He has been serving in this congregation for many, many years. And he has very close relationship with Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu. So thank you. I'll hand over the phone.
Hare Krishna. So first time when he was admitted to the Royal Brisbane Hospital, I went to see him, and this is of course a popular story, everyone knows, but I won't repeat it. So he said, the nurses are asking me, you must be a very important person. So many people are coming and visiting you. He said, no, I am not important, but my grandfather is a very important person. So because of him, everyone is coming to visit me. So he was a through and through Prabhupada man. Many instances are there where he, like his physical life, even in spiritual life, we all go through some challenges. He was also going through some challenges. And one day he came to me and he said, Prabhu, I somehow want to do deity worship, but I don't know whether I'll get second initiation or not. So I'm thinking of going somewhere else where I can, at least do the deity worship. I said, no, have you exhausted all the avenues? And then, of course, as Nandkishore Prabhu said, we went through all the avenues, went by the book, and then in a very authorized manner, he got second initiation and he started deity worship, in a very authorized manner. So he was a through and through Prabhupada man. He did not want to leave ISKCON, and no matter what. Even when he's in his service, as we all know, he was always determined. And now, of course, when we hear from so many different people, we can understand that he was a real Dairupya, as Manish Bhai said. Many, many forms devotees have. Many times our friends don't know that we are living the second life of Hare Krishna. The Hare Krishna devotees, raise your hands if you really knew that he had so many friends not in the moment. Most of us, we didn't know that he had so many friends, who, and again, as I mentioned in his funeral, that he touched everyone's hearts. And I see John also come here. His heart also he has touched. Many of us, this is the sign of a devotee, and Nandkishore Prabhu has, of course, glorified him in so many ways. My relationship was quite unique with him. We were friends, we were accountants. We are accountants, of course. I've left accounting many years ago. But at the same time, he used to treat me as his, I won't say use the word senior. Senior is not an elder godbrother. And many times we will make arrangements that he gets to speak to my Guru Maharaj, and my Guru Maharaj will encourage him. Anyone was there when he actually got the Gayatri mantra? Anyone was present there? Yes, no, you were there, right? Yeah. That was an interesting, it was, I think, just the beginning of COVID, correct? Beginning of COVID, and it was Nirjala Ekadashi. Nirjala Ekadashi. And somehow the other, I don't know whether it was arranged beforehand or no. And also, Rasa, you were there, we had the 3-hour conversation, right? So, you know, some interesting past that happened. When he was, you know, contemplating what to do with his spiritual life, and then I spoke to my Guru Maharaj, who, you know, happens to be his spiritual master also. And so my Guru Maharaj said, you know, I explained to him that this is the situation, and my Guru Maharaj said, Sakira, you know, I'm like Lord Shiva, I accept everyone. So then, of course, he also followed the protocol. He advised Sri Rama Vijaya what to do, and we did accordingly. And then on Nirjala Ekadashi, just when the COVID had started, he got second initiation. Just a few of us were there at the time of second initiation, which was also very, very, very important for him, because then from there he could start his journey of worshipping the deities in a proper authorized manner. And I think immediately after him, then the diagnosis happened, right? Or before that? Before or after? Okay, before. It was just the same time, not very much different. So, and then, you know, then the journey started. And last, when of course, you know, we were there at the hospital all the time, and he always used to tell me jokingly, the last time when I went there, so he told me, of course I have messages also, but when I went there he told me, medically and statistically, they have given me 5 to 12 weeks. So I said, medically and statistically, you know, you don't believe in those things anyway, you know, because you have, you know, the one who's protecting you is Srimati Radharani, the one who's protecting you is Lord Ram. So, you know, why do you even worry? He says, no, Prabhu, this time it's serious. I said, you know, we cannot be serious at all. Of course, after that also there was no seriousness in our lives. I was telling Devika on the way here, coming here, and I was saying, yeah, actually I miss very much. Because we have spent a lot of time together, discussing issues, discussing our profession, discussing our spiritual lives, and like Murari Gupta in Chaitanya Charitamrita, as I quoted earlier in the funeral, even though when I will tell him to study Bhagavatam, or when I ask him to join Srimad Bhagavatam group, or take the name of Gauranga or Krishna, he'll say, Prabhu, I'm a Ram Bhakta, so let me be Ram Bhakta. And he was a wonderful Ram Bhakta. And at the end, of course, Ram Lalla also came to him. So this way we can see that a devotee's life is just going in service, and there's no loss at all. He knows that after this body is gone, he will get another body, another seva, another residence, and he will continue his journey from there. Maybe in the spiritual world, maybe in the material world, wherever Prabhupada has taken him. And this is the faith he actually had. And this conviction is even for devotees who've been practicing for many, many decades, it's not easy to come. It's not easy to come. But he was a person who had this conviction that no matter what, and many of us have witnessed that any challenge will come, he will just say, Radharani's mercy, Radharani's mercy. In total of 5 years which he was there fighting his battle, I think maximum 2 or 3 times he would have probably messaged me and told me that yes, there's a struggle. Otherwise, when we think what struggle, actually it was not struggle for him. He was just cruising along on his journey and getting ready for the next one. Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thanks, Girai Prabhu. Raj Krishna Prabhu recording, is it ready, or who's looking into it?
Yeah, ready, Prabhu.
At the back, yeah. Okay. One of the qualities, one of the things I learned about Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu was he was Chatura. So even his last admission was in bed, he asked his friend Vipin Mahajan to get a chart for him. He was getting sweets from me and chart from him. So that's how lively he was, that he is in bed, he's getting chemotherapy, and he's still thinking about making his tongue more sweet. Thank you. Please play the recording.
Vanchakalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I first met His Grace Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu about 6 to 7 years ago. It was a Sunday at his Brisbane temple during the lunchtime when Rajbhog was just coming out. And His Grace Rama Vijaya Prabhu, and to many known as Pinakin Prabhu as well, was the cook that day. And there were about 6 to 7 devotees, and Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu was bringing the Rajbhoga Prasadam out and serving everyone. And I was sitting on a bench honoring the Prasadam. He had so lovingly cooked. And His Grace Gauranga Karuna Prabhu, holding a hand of a young devotee in his early 30s, came running to Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhuji, and he was speaking very enthusiastically and in a loud voice, and he said, Prabhuji, Prabhuji, iski shadi nahi ho rahi hai, isko aashirwad do ki iski shadi jaldi ho jaye. And everyone at that moment stopped everything they were doing and just looked at what Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu would do and say. After about a few second pause, Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu just extended his right hand and said, Sukhi Raho. And everyone erupted into a laughter. So that broke the ice. And when Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu got his plate of prasadam and sat next to me, and we started talking. And I said to him, Prabhuji, can I tell you a joke? He said, Neki or Pooch Pooch, please do the honors. So I told him, in Treta Yuga, during the period of Ramayana, there was a character known as Vali. And Vali had a boon that whoever would come in front of him with the intention to do a dual combat, half of the power that person would lose, and half of that lost power Vali would gain. And therefore, Vali would be invincible. So similarly, in Kali Yuga, whoever confronts his wife with the intention of argument or a fight, they would lose half their power and the wife would gain half of that lost power. Therefore, in Kali Yuga, in all circumstances, the wife will always be victorious and invincible. And therefore, in Kali Yuga, the wife is called Ghara Vali. And His Grace Rama Vijaya Prabhu could not help, but he started laughing very loudly. And he said, and he kept saying, Prabhuji, आपने आज मुझे बहुत हंसाया, मैं आपका बड़ा फैन हो गया हूँ. So that was the start of our long and lasting friendship, and we had many, many good times together. Also, many, many good times serving together in various capacity at ISKCON Brisbane, and then later on at Hare Krishna Temple, Burbank. Prabhuji had a very difficult life, and it seemed that this material world actually wasn't meant for him. At the same time, His Grace Rama Vijaya Prabhu, he had an intelligence no one could match, as far as I know. He lived beyond and had a foresight far beyond anyone of us could comprehend. And above all, he had a wit to make comments which made sense, but it took a while for everyone to understand. He was a person who was very compassionate, and he felt the pain of others. I cannot forget, many, many times he would come to me and say to me, Viraj Prabhu, you have to slow down. Health is of utmost importance. If health is there, then everything is there. And he was speaking very, very genuinely. We were privileged that my wife Purna Kushal Devidasi and myself had a privilege of serving His Grace Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu. He very much liked her cooking, especially when the health restrictions were there. She was able to cook palatable dishes as offering to Sri Radha Neel Madhav, and Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu would very enthusiastically honor the prasadam. Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu was one of the founding members of Hare Krishna Temple, Burbank, and he was very pivotal in setting up the structure, the legal and finance of this temple. We will certainly miss his intellect, his insight, and his caring personality. He has left a void which will be very difficult to be filled. At this time, our thoughts are certainly with our children, Devesh and Devika, and the rest of the family, Prabhuji's parents, his brother, sister-in-law, niece, nephews. And we pray that Sri Radha Neel Madhav, Sri Radhagiri Govardhandhari and Gauranitai give everyone strength. Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu has done an enormous deed in his departure, and he has brought the whole community at Hare Krishna Temple, Burbank, together. And this is the legacy he has left to show that how even a departure of a Vaishnava can be a uniting force and make everyone introspect. Yes, one day we all also have to die. But he faced this reversal in his life with great dignity and also, I must say, with a sense of humor, and he always made others feel very, very comfortable. Rama Vijaya Prabhu was a straight shooter. He would not mince his words, but nonetheless, the foreground of everything he would do was love and care. So even if he spoke something which was bitter, he would immediately come and embrace and deal with everyone in such a way as if nothing had happened. We will surely miss him. I will surely miss him. His Grace Rama Vijaya Prabhu ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Thanks, Viraj. Thanks, Viraj Krishna Prabhu. He's at the moment overseas, so he was with us until last week and he has to go to visit his family. Now, I would invite little kids to sing another Ram Bhajan because they have prepared it for Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu. After the this invitation for the friends or family or any friends who want to share their memories. Matajis haven't shared any memories. Is there any Matajis who would like to share their memories of Ram Vijaya Prabhu? Thank you. After this one, there will be a short bhajan. Yeah, I'll come with you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. I'm sharing something that my husband passed on to me to speak. He had a very close relationship with Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu. So here's a few words from him. Probably, maybe I feel like I'm the most privileged person to be with Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu for more than 15 years. I remember when we met first time in the Graceful Temple, and I can still remember his friendly smile. It was not long after that we became business partners. As his long-time business partner, I remember him as a person fully dedicated to his accounting work, his passion, his intelligence, hard work. He was always positive, never scared of anything, and always ready to help anyone, be it a client, staff, or any other person. That is the reason why he has so many friends and how gracious. He was a person with bright, sharp memory. He knew countless spiritual stories and would often weave them into our conversations. But at the same time, he also had an impressive memory for Hollywood and Hollywood movie dialogues, which he would always reference, even in the most serious moments. He would bring humour and lightness to even the most difficult moments. His sense of humour was excellent. I remember when we went to a holiday in Queenstown. We went to a place called Fear Factory, a haunted house. And instead of being scared, he was scaring all the ghosts by pretending to be a ghost and pulling their arms. Eventually they had to announce that no one is allowed to touch our ghosts and scare them. It makes me smile thinking what mischief he must be up to now. It is very hard to digest that he is no longer with us. But on the other hand, we are sure he is in the safe hands of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. I am sure he must be heaven.
I'm sure he must be having chole bhature with my and probably all of our other best friend, HG. His Grace Srila Prabhu, who left us a few years ago. Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu ki.
We are a bit behind in terms of time, but I think we might extend it for 15-20 minutes more to give a chance to as many devotees as possible, but we'll keep it short to 2 to 3 minutes for each whose service left. I'll come back to you, Prabhu, after this one, after the bhajan. So I'll hand over to you.
Do you need this one? Jay?
I'll hand over to the Prabhu to speak about something. So after that there'll be another Prabhu at the back. Then after that I'll invite Vaishnavis on the other side. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. In loving memory of my friend Guy Pushi. So, there's a quote from Bhagavad Gita. It's summarized: for the soul there is neither birth or death at any time. It is not slain when the body is slain. So I've known Puji for 14 years. I met him on a bus. I was sitting behind him, drawn by his shikha and tulsi mala that he wore around his neck. He wore, and my curiosity grew. I asked him, do you belong to ISKCON or one of those Hare Krishna groups? And he laughed with their signature mix of warmth and wit. And so began a friendship that would become one of the most meaningful relationships in my life. He was my accountant, yes, but he was also my compass. Whether it was parenting, housing, finances, spiritualism, or simply navigating the ups and downs of life, he offered guidance with patience and grace. I never saw him angry, never heard him speak ill of anyone. He was forgiving to a fault, and his faith in Lord Krishna was a quiet force behind everything he did. He once told me about the apartment he bought in Rishikesh, a place close to the sacred flow of the Ganges. But his heart was set on Vrindavan. In his final year, he spoke of his desire to go there and serve Lord Krishna, to spend his days immersed in devotion and divine service. That dream, like so many of his words, still echoes in my heart. Even now I hear his jokes, his sarcasm, his laughter, it's so vivid. Feels like he's still here, just in the next room, waiting for another pearl of wisdom to offer it, or a perfectly timed quip. When we just met 2 months ago, I sat with him in his office. He spoke with pride about his children. He was never worried about Devika. Her strength and clarity gave him peace. For it was Divesh, his transformation that lit up his face. He was overjoyed to see Divesh expressing himself, communicating more, opening up. It was a moment of pure joy. He was a rare soul, steady, wise, and full of light. Though he has joined the spiritual realm, reunited with Krishna, his presence remains. In every act of kindness, in every moment of clarity, I feel him, I always will. He lived a life of complete surrender and devotion to the divine, seeing Krishna in all relationships and roles. I have a brief message for Devika and Divyesh. Your father was a rare soul, wise, gentle, and deeply rooted in love. His faith gave him strength, and his love for you gave him purpose. I see his light in both of you, in your resilience, your kindness, and curiosity. He may have left this world, but he hasn't left you. He walks beside you in every decision, every joy, every challenge. If you ever feel lost, remember that he believed in you more than anything, and so all of us as well. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna everyone, my name is Shane. I feel blessed and humbled to be given an opportunity to share my memories about my dear brother who is in Lord Krishna's presence. Sri Rama Vijaya Prabhu, as you all know, or Piyush, was my dear younger brother, or bro as we refer to each other. I have known Piyush since the last 11 years. They say God has a purpose and time in everyone's life. I was faced with a tax dilemma and was looking for a smart and astute tax practitioner to help me out. I feel grateful that when I dialed, Piyush was on the other line and agreed to see me and come up with a great plan to resolve the issue. That was Piyush Bhai, who was always calm and brainy to get anything resolved. While we are both from the same chartered accountancy background, I never felt any competition from him. We would constantly share notes and challenge ourselves with creative accounting solutions. Besides having shared professional challenges, we would also share our love for movies. Piyush would always share messages saying, "Bhai, ye web series aayi hai, jara dekho." Cars and gadgets was another thing he loved to discuss. The last 2 cars he bought, he would always ask me to come along to test drive before making a major decision. Food was another passion. He would ask me to join where possible. He would say, "Shane bhai, aaj kadi banayi hai. Come and join me." Even when some of his friends came from US and India, he asked me to meet them. We would not meet or chat daily, but from what I just shared, Piyush and I shared a very close bond, and we knew we could call on each other whenever we needed it. He was also a very funny person. If I asked him on WhatsApp, "Bhai, free hai?" he would reply, "I am very expensive and my going rate is high." When his kids went to New Zealand at the start of this year, he asked me if I could come and stay with him for a week. Before I could come, and in spite of being so frail and in pain, he would ask me, "What do you take for lunch?" so that he could prepare. That was Piyush Bhai, selfless and a very humble person. The last 4 years since he was diagnosed with cancer, I always prayed to God to cure him. Even though he was in so much pain with all the chemo his body went through, he would hardly complain. There were days he would write to me saying he does not want to talk to anyone. There's a few times when he would say he cannot deal with it and would want to go in peace. But I would insist that the kids need him the most and to hang in there. Last month when he told me that he had 1 to 3 months more, I came to see him and comfort him with a prayer. He replied in his normal form, "Thanks heaps bro. I have sort of reached the stage shown in Hindi movies where doctor comes and says, 'Ab dawa nahi, dua kaam karegi.'" I felt he was a good poet. And another time he wrote, "जीने की आरज़ू में मरे जा रहे लोग, मरने की तमन्ना में जिए जा रहा हूँ मैं. People are desiring to live but dying, and I am wishing for death but continue to live. What irony. Don't know what's stopping me in this world." My memory of Piyush Bhai will always be of someone who has gone through this life with humility, resilience and a smile, no matter the pain. Rest in peace, dear bro, until we meet again. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Shane. Next one is Shanti Rupa Mataji. So I'll hand over the mic to her. Thank you.
To my loving brother who has departed to a better place, you will be deeply missed. Every time we met, I was left with a feeling of wow. Thank you, Prabhu, for your vast Shastra knowledge, to your inspiring spiritual kathas, to your sharp accounting skills. Everything about you was so admirable. I know it will be very hard for your parents and children to accept this reality. Yet in this life's journey, we were blessed to have met you. Now that you are no longer with us, your memories will be cherished and remembered forever. I find comfort in knowing that all the pain you experienced has now vanished. Our kids will forever be the biggest connection we share. For Keshini and Bhuvanesh, you will always be their dearest uncle. They loved your company, the countless drives, the sleepovers, the joy you brought into their life. Working with you in maintaining the books was also a special experience for me. You were always sharp, quick, and meticulous. As a pujari, your dedication to maintaining the high standards of seva was unmatched. You took me as your sister, and I very much cherished that bond. You gave me privilege to cook for you. I was given the opportunity to prepare dosa batter, cook South Indian dishes, and assist in small ways. And that little seva is very, very special to me. To dear Devika and Devesh, I pray you will find strength to let go Papa with a heavy heart while holding his cherished moment tightly with you. Please, please allow me to be your Amma. I promise to always be there to listen, to understand, to guide, and to be your friend. When I see your tears, I only wish I could hug you, sit beside you, and give you comfort. Prabhu, please do not worry. I know your greatest concern was always your children. 2 weeks before we visited you at the hospital, you looked right into my eyes and said, Mataji, the hardest thing to let go is attachment towards our children. I promise Prabhu and I will be there for Devika and Devesh. We will ensure they finish their university, receive initiation, walk on the spiritual path, and live the life you wished for them. Krishna loves you more than us for now. You are going to be missed so deeply. It is hard for all of us to accept this, but we take comfort knowing you are in his loving shelter. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Those who, I think his last couple of days went in a very glorious circumstances. He was unconscious for the last couple of days, but constantly those 2 days he was getting visitors who were reciting Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and also Kirtan going on. And at the last moment, his body left us around 2:15 in the morning. Before that, he has one of the devotees, Tanmay, he was with him, and Devesh, his son, was with him. When he was about to leave the body, that time mantras was recited in his ear as per the Vedic Shastrical rituals. And at that time, I have never seen in my whole life that there is a mridanga going on in the Kartal. Daniel Prabhu was there and he was singing the Kirtan. Just think of the circumstances, 2:15 in the midnight or past midnight, early morning hours, someone is doing a Kirtan with Kartal in a quiet hospital environment. So that's the glorious way he left his body. I wish it would happen to me. So this is how I think the journey of Vaishnavas is. Vaishnavas never die, they keep on going from one to another place and keep on serving the other Vaishnavas. Thank you. Now, is there anyone who would like to say anything? Thank you, Mataji.
Hello, I'm Jyoti, and my husband Piyush ji was very close to my husband, and I just want to share a few memories. As we gather in memory of Piyush ji, we reflect on the grace and nobility he carried throughout his life. With simplicity, humility, and a heart devoted to service, he touched all who had the privilege of knowing him. His kindness and generosity have left an enduring imprint that will never fade. At the center of his life was his unwavering devotion to Lord Krishna. His faith was not merely practiced, but something he lived each day, expressed through his compassion, patience, and goodness towards others. Even in the face of great suffering, he remained strong and accepting, drawing courage from his devotion. To have known him has truly been a blessing. His guidance and presence brought light into my life. for which I shall always remain deeply grateful. Though he is no longer with us physically, the love, wisdom, and devotion he shared will continue to live in our hearts. May Lord Krishna embrace his soul with eternal peace and lovingly welcome him into his divine abode. Hare Krishna.
Thank you everyone for coming, and next we'll continue. I apologize that I have to cut short because I'm sure a lot of other people who are attached to him, if they wanted to say or share their good times with him, but because of the lack of time, we need to continue with the Aarti now. Srila Prabhu, would you mind to continue with the Aarti? After that, the prasadam will be Narasimha prayers, and prasadam will be served outside 7:30. Who the kids who are sitting here, they can go outside 7:30. Prasadam will be starts. Thank you.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jayanti Vishnu Om Vishnu Bhag Brahmaham Supadi Brajagacharya Astotar Sutta Shri Srimad Avecharanavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Sansthapak-acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Guru Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Srimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ram Vijaya Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri upcoming Radhastami Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanand. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you everyone for coming and participating in today's program. Tomorrow is Radha Ashtami. So the program will start at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. Please everyone come and bring your family, friends. It's one of the most auspicious days. It's even considered that it's better than the Janmashtami. So please come and get blessing from Srimati Radharani, who is the abode of Bhakti. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So prasadam is serving outside, so please make your way out. Hare Krishna.